Hi guys, it's Miss Karen, the Young Adult Librarian at the Goshen Public Library, and it's time for another 5 on Friday, where I pick 5 books from the YA collection all about a certain theme. And today we're going back in history. I've chosen 5 historical fiction books, all from the YA collection, for you to check out. And the first one is pretty timely, even though it was written in 2014. I think that you will find some parallels to today's experiences. It's called A Deathstroke Year, and it's by Micaiah Lucier. In the grip of the deadly 1918 flu pandemic, not even the strong survive. The Spanish influenza is devastating the East Coast, but Cleo Berry knows it is a world away from the safety of her home in Portland, Oregon. Then the flu moves into the Pacific Northwest. Schools, churches, and theaters are shut down. The entire city is thrust into survival mode and into a panic. 17-year-old Cleo is told to stay put in her quarantined boarding school, but when the Red Cross pleads for volunteers, she cannot ignore the call for help. In the grueling days that follow her headstrong decision, she risks everything for near strangers. Strangers like Edmund, a handsome medical student, strangers who could be gone tomorrow. And as the bodies pile up, Cleo can't help but wonder, when will her own luck run out? So that is A Deathstroke Year by Micaiah Lucier. Certainly timely. Next book I have is called Dread Nation by Justina Ireland. Now, this one is alternative history, so it is historical fiction, but it's a little different than the history that we all know to be true. Jane McKean was born 2 days before the dead began to walk in the battlefields of Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, derailing the war between the states and changing the nation forever. In this new America, safety for all depends on the work of a few, and laws like the Negro and Native Re-Education Act require certain children attend combat schools to learn to put down the dead. But there are also opportunities, and Jane is studying to become an attendant, trained in both weaponry and etiquette to protect the well-to-do. It's a chance for a better life for Negro girls like Jane. But that's not a life she wants. Almost finished with her education at Miss Preston's School of Combat in Baltimore, Jane is set on returning to her Kentucky home and doesn't pay much mind to the politics of the eastern cities, with their talk of returning America to the glory of its days before the dead rose. But when families around Baltimore County begin to go missing, Jane is caught in the middle of a desperate fight against some powerful enemies. And the restless dead, it would seem, are the least of her problems. At once provocative, terrifying, and darkly subversive, Dread Nation is Justina Ireland's stunning vision of an America both foreign and familiar, a country on the brink, at the explosive crossroads where race, humanity, and survival meet. So Dread Nation is the first book. There is another one that comes after it. And if you like alternative history, you might want to check out Dread Nation Rise Up by Justina Ireland. Next, we go back to World War II with Project 1065 by Alan Gratz. Alan Gratz has written lots of World War II fiction. So let's check this one out. Infiltrate, befriend, sabotage. World War II is raging. Michael O'Shaughnessy, originally from Ireland, now lives in Nazi Germany with his parents. Like the other boys in his school, Michael is a member of the Hitler Youth. But Michael has a secret. He and his parents are spies. Michael despises everything the Nazis stand for, but he joins in the Hitler Youth's horrific games and book burnings, playing the part so he can gain insider knowledge. When Michael learns about Project 1065, a secret Nazi war mission, things get even more complicated. He must prove his loyalty to the Hitler Youth at all costs, even if it means risking everything he cares about, including his own life. From proclaimed author Alan Gratz comes a pulse-pounding novel about facing fears and fighting for what matters most. So if you like World War II fiction, this is a new, not new, this one's a little bit older, 2016. But it's a great look at a different perspective of World War II. Next, we have The Fountains of Silence by Ruta Sepetys. Ruta Sepetys has written lots of historical fiction as well. This one is about the Spain under Francisco Franco. Madrid, 1957. Under the oppressive dictatorship of General Francisco Franco, Spain is hiding a dark secret. Meanwhile, tourists and foreign businessmen flood into Spain under the welcoming promise of sunshine and wine. Among them is 18-year-old Daniel Matheson, the son of an oil tycoon who arrives in Madrid with his parents, hoping to connect with the country of his mother's birth through the lens of his camera. Photography and fate introduce him to Anna, whose family's interweaving obstacles reveal the lingering grasp of the Spanish Civil War, as well as chilling definitions of fortune and fear. Daniel's photographs leave him with uncomfortable questions amidst shadows of danger. He is backed into a corner of difficult decisions to protect those he loves. Lives and hearts collide, revealing an incredibly dark side to the sunny Spanish city. Master storyteller Ruta Sepetys once again shines light into one of history's darkest corners in this epic, heart-wrenching novel about identity, unforgettable love, repercussions of war, and the hidden violence of silence, inspired by the true post-war struggles of Spain. It includes vintage media reports, oral history commentary, photos, and more. So The Fountains of Silence by Ruta Sepetys is all about Spain under the dictatorship of Franco. It's really, really good. I know it's long and looks intimidating, but it is a quick read because it's so interesting. So if you're interested in a part of history you may not have read more about, check this one out, The Fountains of Silence by Ruta Sepetys. And the last book I have is a little bit lighter. It's a historical mystery called The Agency, The Body at the Tower by Y.S. Lee. So a little less serious than the last one. Now nearly a full-fledged member of the agency, the all-female detective unit operating out of Miss Scrimshaw's Academy for Girls, Mary Quinn is back for another action-packed adventure. Disguised as a poor apprentice builder and a boy, she must brave the grimy underbelly of Victorian London, as well as childhood memories of fear, hunger, and constant want, to unmask the identity of a murderer. Assigned to monitor a building site on the clock tower of the Houses of Parliament, Mary earns the confidence of the work crew, including ever nearer her suspect. I'm having trouble reading this one. Mary earns the confidence of the work crew, inching ever nearer her suspect. But if an irresistible desire to help the city's needy doesn't distract her and jeopardize her cover, unexpectedly meeting up with an old friend or flame just might. A suspenseful and evocative window into a fascinating moment in history. The Body at the Tower is the much-anticipated second outing with a daring young detective. So this is the second book, not necessarily in a series per se. The agency has the same detective, Mary Quinn, but I think you can probably read them in any order. So if you like historical mystery, check out The Agency by Y.S. Lee and the other books from this series, The Agency, to read more about Mary Quinn. So those are our historical fiction picks for today. We've got The Agency by Y.S. Lee, The Fountains of Silence by Ruta Sepetys, Project 1065 by Alan Gratz, Dread Nation by Justina Ireland, and A Deathstroke Year by Mikia Lucier. I hope you found something you like there, and I will be back next week with another 5 on Friday. Have a great weekend, and I will see you soon.